You are all so wonderful. I have my, do you see my t-shirt? I had this t-shirt on. I needed to boost. I put this t-shirt on because my proudest moment, I think it was Nancy took that photo with all of us in Tallahassee. I am so proud to be a gun sense candidate with all of you. I am so proud to wear your shirt. I'm so proud because this organization, I saw you in action in Tallahassee. Every one of you individually, your message is so powerful. And together as an organization, you are extraordinary. And it was so obvious to me when we went, we went from office to office and we met with the folks who we hoped would vote for us, that even those offices where you went, we went and talked with those we knew were not going to be with us, they listened and they listened and they paid attention to moms demand action for gun safety. Why? Because they know you are an organization that's standing for the right thing to do for our children, for our people, for all of our constituencies. And you have such a power because you are saying what needs to be said. So I hope to be on that bus with Cindy, and I hope to be in Tallahassee with all of you. I'm so proud to be part of this organization. I think when I first met with moms way back, I can't remember when it was, a year ago, and I said something. Many of you may know me, some of you don't. I just retired from the Foreign Service. I was overseas in Latin America. Before that, I was Assistant Inspector General at the U.S. Department of State, fighting for our taxpayer dollars against waste, fraud, and abuse, and standing up to our public officials who, as we see today, were abusing their position and misusing taxpayer dollars. And I was an attorney with small businesses. So when I stand with moms, I am standing with you all to use the skills that I have over the past 30 years to try to bring change for our future. Cindy said she's a mom, and there is such power in being a mom. And I'm a mom, and I'm a grandmom of 6 grandchildren. And that's why I got in this race. I came back from overseas. I saw we were at ground zero for sea level rise. And then in Parkland happened. And we had before that Pulse nightclub. And I started out, I was canvassing for other candidates. I never intended to run. But when the opportunity came this time, I said, you know what? I need to do this for my grandchildren because I can't bear the fact that they will have gun violence as part of their everyday lives to be thinking about as they go to school, as they grow up, as they go about their business, everyday lives. So yes, I'm a mom and I'm a grandmother of 6. And that's why I'm in this fight for them and for all of us. As many of you know, I started out my campaign, knocking on doors, listening to our voters in this district. We handed out hundreds of gun locks, and we also were petitioning to get the ban of assault weapons, get that amendment on the ballot. So these are issues. And as we went around this district knocking on doors and talking to the voters, it was clear to me that this is a priority. Banning assault weapons is a priority with the voters of this district. Common sense, gun safety, universal background checks is a priority with the voters of this district. Having the opportunity for the victims of domestic violence, we are seeing more guns and more violence now than ever. So this is a priority to have the victims of domestic violence able to go themselves to the court and get a risk order protection without needing to rely on the busy and overworked public officers to go into court for them, that victims of domestic crime can now go into a court and have that risk protection order put out for them. So I am so proud to be part of this organization. This priority is so dear to my heart, and I wear this red shirt with pride. You all give me energy every time I put it on. So I'm going to stop there. I want to work with this. I want to work for this organization and all of us. We have so much to do in 2020. We need to make this a success, and I know you will help me do that. Thank you. I do have a new priority after this meeting, and that is Mendel's Law. I think that is a great new priority, and I think we need funding to make from the state to provide funding for tips for children who have been the victims of crime with Mendel's Law. I think it's a great new priority, and I think it's something that we need to do so there is state funding so that the families of children who are gunned down or the victims of gun violence have a fund that they can go to help get information about crime and have tips come in. I think a rewards, some money for those rewards would be very important and very well deserved and money well spent. As we know, our legislature every year gives $500 million to $1 billion in rebates and tax gifts and other money back to the largest corporations in the world, which does not mean a thing to them. That money needs to come back to our district. We're a donor county. We need to bring that money back for our affordable housing, for our wages, for our teachers. And I think bringing some of that money back for a new Mendel's Law would be appropriate to help our children and the parents and the families of our children who are the victims of violence get the tips. Now, let me go to your question, Burdett. I apologize. As you know, I was an Assistant Inspector General at the U.S. Department of State. I worked in government. I was public service for over 30 years. Part of my duties as the Assistant Inspector General were the Inspector General Act requires that the Inspector General review and comment on all legislation under his or her purview. So part of my job as an attorney and as an Assistant Inspector General for congressional missions was to work on a daily basis with our U.S. Congress. So I was reviewing, commenting, and a couple, working in the legislative arena. And I was doing so on a bipartisan basis. And I have to say it wasn't quite the same. I have to say also I had the pleasure of working with then Senator Biden, who was extraordinary, as was Senator Kerry on the Foreign Relations Committee, Foreign Affairs Committee. And were extraordinary leaders. But when we were working on a bipartisan, the force of a better idea, and we are so, as Cindy has said, it is so divided and so difficult. But I still believe in the force of a better idea. And I think with moms, and I think the power of the respect and the power that you have gained, because people know you are doing the right thing, I still believe in the power of a better idea. And I think when we're talking and listening and trying to work with people, with our colleagues across the aisle, we must remember that we all do have our constituents and our higher purposes to be accountable to, and that is our voters. We must all be accountable to our voters. So I think with the power of this district, knowing this district as I do, and I do know, despite our current representation, it's my obligation to stand up and represent, not be a rubber stamp to the majority, but to stand up and stand up for the issues that this organization stands for. And I know that the constituents, the voters in this district want it. So that's a power that I have to work always as I have across the board talking with people. But again, the power of a better idea often does work. And in my experience, 30 years as a Foreign Service officer working in different cultures, different languages, different backgrounds, very different perspectives, I've always been able to get people to at least listen and think about common needs. And I think, you know, this has been a long time coming with our National Congress. We need to get there. And I think if we get more votes there, as the district, as Cindy was saying, more members present so that we can increase our pressure and increase the argument, we'll get there.